When people hear we are back, they think Potatoes Gang. And many quickly think Washington and think of such television programs that are fairly similar in their approach, like McLaughlin and Company, like Capital Gang. But the truth is that Potatoes Gang is really a reality show that came, well, to television in a different kind of way. Why is it a reality show? Back in the early 80s, when I first returned from graduate studies in America, about 1982, I was fortunate to live in a nice bungalow in Surulere on Eric Moore Close. And it became a kind of melting pot, a kind of stop place for many of the bright, upwardly mobile, young intellectual types in Lagos. And so on their way back from work, many would just drive into my home, toss their jackets to one corner, and in our shirt sleeves, we'll all begin to debate Nigeria over a beer, over a glass of red wine. What can we do about Nigeria? Years later, that became Potatoes Gang, and we are back.
Is Nigeria as it is working? Should we redefine, restructure, reorganize? And if so, where do we start from? Today on the show, we look at defining restructuring. Welcome to Potatoes Gang.
Well, gentlemen, there's this noise about, I call it noise because everybody's talking about restructuring, that Nigeria is not working, and really, things are not working the way it should be. The economy is down, everything is down, people are not happy, the misery index is rising, and so people are talking about restructuring, but they have not been able to define the kind of restructuring that they're actually looking out for. Is it a restructuring to change the political system that will run from democracy to what? Presidential system to parliament, or what? So, I don't know, what actually do people regard, or how do they define restructuring? Nobody has been able to come up with that. Because I believe that one of the challenges we have, until we get our political system reformed, the economy will keep doing what it's doing. Because the political side affects or determines how the economic side will come out to be. So that's just the point.
Well, no matter the side of the divide stay, you may have heard that people are talking about restructuring throws up an issue. If you want to restructure, it implies that what you currently have is not right. So you need to have a rethink. But whether it's the political institutions you need to restructure, or system, or the economy, is another thing. We've alluded to the fact that if you don't get your politics right, the economy may forever remain in a spin. We've tried parliamentary system, abandoned it midway. We've experienced a long number of years with military dictatorship. We've seen the challenges it threw to the economy. And now we've done more than 30 years of presidential system. We are still not satisfied. So there's a need to go back to the basics. National confab tried to address this issue, but final solution.
Are you saying that we should go back to do another confab or what?
I don't think we need, in the face of the huge resources you need to deploy, I don't think we need to go through that route. We've tried presidential system, we've tried parliamentary system, and we've seen the harsh returns from dictatorship. So it's a question of getting each of the geopolitical zones to come around and look at what. In the first republic, we recall we had the regional autonomy. It was more like a confederation.
Yeah.
That was what Professor Otomi used to refer to as competitive communalism.
Yeah.
Each region was running its race in a very competitive manner. The West came up with the first radio TV in Africa. The East and the North followed suit immediately. The West had its stadium. It didn't take a number of years before the North and the East came up with their own stadium as well. So you could go back and borrow that area and follow that region. But recall that the regions have been broken down into further states. What was southwest or western region in those days now ended up with about 6 states. And within the 6 states, there's legislation for that breakdown of the states. So we really have a challenge. We've seen other economies, like the Soviet Union, broke into several countries. And we've seen that since that break, the former Soviet bloc zone have not been the same. It's been a very great slide.
I think it's important for us not to quibble. The question of restructuring, it derives from the name, restructure. It says that the structure that we have is not good. And what is not good about it? It's about the control of resources that are available to all of Nigeria. The way we are structured now gives control of the resources to the center. It takes almost a full half, and then the rest of the states, 36 states plus 1, and 774 local governments recognized in the Constitution have to share the remaining half. It's not working. So what it does is that we have a system where all power, rather than belong to Nigerians, belongs to the person who is at the center. That is the call to say, no, this system does not work. This structure is not good. Let's restructure. So the question is, it's clear that we want to change the way that our country is arranged for the management of our common resources.
I think from whatever way we may actually look at it, restructuring is imminent. And it becomes pertinent for us to understand that whether economically, politically, socially, or otherwise, restructure is imminent. And Nigeria started practicing federalism in 1954. That is the relationship between the central government, which is the federal government, and the constituent unit. From that period of time up till now, we discovered that, like what he said earlier, the power is yours in the hands of the central. They decide what to be given to this constituent unit. And we believe in Nigeria of today that it becomes important that we restructure. We come again, sit down. I'm not saying we should have a national conference any longer, because we have gotten several conferences and it has not been, the result has not been implemented. But
yeah, what I would have, I expected this present government to have done was to look when we came in, because it was on that mantra that they wrote, to come into power. Pick up this thing, what the document of the confab. Look at it. If you need to tweak something, you tweak. Let it be your central focus. I think if they had distracted us, with that document, there could have been a better hope for Nigeria than saying that thing belongs to the trash can. Can you imagine? Yeah, those that didn't believe in that, fine, like Machiavelli always said that in his book, The Prince, just that those that benefit from the existing system will always resist any change. So, those people had their day, had their way, and that thing was thrown to the trash can.
I think, like what you just said now, some few months ago, the vice president, who is now the acting president, said he is not against restructuring, as many are actually canvassing about that. But what he's actually for is, what kind of restructuring does Nigeria want at this particular point in time?
Yeah.
So that is what we should focus on. What do we want? What kind of restructure do we want? Do we want how power can be shared? Or do we still want to maintain the 6 geopolitical zone Nigeria is having? Or do we want...
By the way, do you know how the 6 geopolitical zones came about? Did we sit down to divide the zones? It was not from information available. This was done by you know,
Constitutional conference.
no, it was not constitutional conference. It was
an idea suggested by
No, it was-
former Vice President
No.
Kwame.
No, it was this D8. They call them D8. A group
Okay,
of
the D8, yeah.
a group of some emerging countries that got together and they divided Nigeria into all this. All this.
It was suggested at the Abacha Constitutional Conference by Dr. Alex Kwame. He said he made the presentation and said you can easily see Nigeria in this light, and in terms of geographical propinquity, people who are close, they are, so that's how that concept of the 6 geopolitical zones came about, and we started adopting it. But that's really the point is that when restructuring is mentioned in Nigeria, there's this needless fear that it equates to secession,
Yeah,
that it equates to tearing the country apart.
Yeah.
That's not what it is.
Exactly.
The challenge I have with the promoters of the restructuring agenda is that if you track their background, most often people make demands, ask for things when it suits them. I'll give you an example.
Just hold it there. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, you continue from there.
We've seen that we have a system where power and resources are concentrated in the center. And the gang maintains that restructuring is imminent. But should we still maintain our 6 geopolitical zones? And does restructuring mean secession? Let's go to the streets to find out what you think.
When the government is seen that way, it will be reduced. We don't want people that are just striving to get there.
When we talk of restructuring, right, it really boils down to so many things in Nigeria. Because from 1960 that we had our independence, we have been on just one phase. One phase in the sense that all we've been doing is on one thing. That is, the people that have been in the system of government are still the same. And there's need for us to move away from that aspect of them, then getting the younger bloods to come into the government and have a taste of what it is. So many things have decayed in Nigeria, and we need to put them straight. When you talk of corruption, is in infrastructures, when you go, housing, so many things, so many systems have been decayed. So when we talk of restructuring, it has to do with the federal government, and it will come down to the state government, and it will also go down to the local government. When you look at Lagos State, look at what Fashola has done, look at what Ambode is doing right now. You can see that they are doing a lot of things. We are not going to forget Tinubu, who is the father of them all, that brings them. That is change. That is restructuring of democracy, governance. That is the aspect of governance, right? When you move away from that sector, it goes to another sector. Maybe economic, we need to restructure our economy. When you look at the population of Nigeria is getting bigger and bigger every day. So because of that, we need to restructure so many things. So many aspects of our life so many things needs to be touched.
We need to change some things. When the PDP is ruling the country, I think they are the ones that are dictating. The other party is not partaking. They are partaking, but they are not that partaking. Now APC is on, everything is on APC's neck. And we say we want one Nigeria. And I believe if we say one Nigeria, I will say all the political parties in Nigeria are supposed to partake in the political system of the country.
Our oil resources are not really working well. Things are not moving well, and things are expensive. I feel the major problem is for them to structure our resources, which is our oil.
People are talking about restructuring in Nigeria or change in Nigeria, but what we need to do most in Nigeria is one, to change our character and attitude. If we are able to do that, everything in Nigeria will change for good and for better.
Well, yeah, Rashid, you were saying
Yes,
that.
I was going to give examples of thoughts from various blocks in Nigeria. I remember quite clearly during the military days, there was strong demand from the south, particularly southwest, that the northern blocks have more representation in the power block. So they want merit to inform appointments and recruitment in the military, the Air Force, police, mention it. But when it comes to education, the Southwest will tell you it should be purely on merit. That's cut-off point should be uniform for the whole country. But when you are doing recruitment to the army, it should be done on state balance. Ditto appointment, that's why the constitution is saying each state must have at least one minister in the cabinet. It was all like that before. So in some areas, agitators will ask for state balance or tribal balance in the federal structure. But when it suits them, when they have a winning card, they will champion merit. One jam, said no, there should be no special treatment to every state, to any state. Admission through jam should be purely based on merit. When it comes to the defense academy, they say no, cannot be done on merit.
So you
It
find
should be
that-
done. So you find, so this type of attitude brings mistrust. People are not really clear whether the demands are genuine.
I think in addition to that, we should look at the vision. Any restructuring will start from the vision, original vision of our forefathers, the founders of this country had. What vision do they have? And that vision is also embedded in the national anthem, which was later changed. But even then, when Nigeria gained independence, Nigeria is one of the few countries in the world where you have the Bible and the Quran presented before God and said, this is our vision, this is our country. And that's why God hears when you pray with Quran, when you pray with your Bible, because it was this thing that they did. The British signed and stamped their witness to that. But after some time, what happened? Those founding fathers, because of selfish interests, forgot the national vision, which is, number one, to build a country where no one will be oppressed. To build a country where there is justice, where there is equity, and where there is equality. And it formed Nigeria's foreign policy. That was why Nigeria fought South Africa apartheid. That was why Nigeria fought the African this thing. And Nigeria gained the name, the nickname of a giant of Africa. But today, Nigeria is, there's no foreign policy. If you ask me, I don't know what the foreign policy thrust is all about. Okay, unlike before, because they have lost the vision. So it continued. Every subsequent government or leadership forgot about the national vision. And then we have found ourselves to a point that the former Ghanaian president, John, no, not Kufuor, the last one, Mahama, said a couple of years ago that Nigeria should rise up and take Africa out of this thing. Because if whether you like it or not, Nigeria is holding Africa down. Africa will not rise without Nigeria rising. It's only when Nigeria rises that Africa can rise. But you find that we have lost that vision. Any restructuring that we have to do must go back to the national vision so that we'll be able to retrace all the mistakes that we have made and then correct them and have a new nation based on the vision that our forefathers, founders of this nation presented at the formation of the country.
I think like what you said now, we need restructuring. We are not, performing or working out for the vision of our nationalists or our forefathers. Like the former national anthem you just made mention of, I remember a line of that anthem that says, "In brotherhood we stand."
Yes.
And as a Nigerian, or as Nigeria, we still believe we are one. But this restructure is important and eminent now because almost every facet of this economy or of this nation needs restructure. You mentioned about education here. we need restructuring in education section or sector. We need restructuring in political, economically, socially, and otherwise. The revenue allocation, we need restructure. Politically.
That's the main bone of contention.
Exactly, we need this.
It's about resource management.
About resource.
But because I think that a key challenge is that when we talk resource management in Nigeria, we're talking about resource sharing mainly, rather than resource creation, resource production. So we need to incorporate that element of how do we produce the wealth of Nigeria before we talk about how do we share it. Because it's the sharing that is the problem now. A key question, a key component of this, who gets what, because restructuring is about who gets what, where, when, how. That's where we are. We said we are defining restructuring. Restructuring in Nigeria is a question of determining who gets what and what share of our resource goes to each component unit. Once we agree on that, we then should go back one step and say, how do we bake this cake in the first instance? If we agree that we should do the baking in the sense that you bake what is available to you, bring it to the center, and we will give you the larger share because you did the baking, and then we will share everyone else. That's how it was in the
60s.
So we may just have to go back to where we were coming because it worked.
Yes, all the regions were producing whatever they could and contributing about 50% or so to the center.
I think that analogy you just gave now should be what we need to present to the federal government, because it's very important at this particular point in time for them to realize that if someone baked a cake like what you said, okay, maybe you want a larger portion of it. It suffices me to say that people that doesn't even bake this cake are actually having a larger portion of the cake.
No, but you also find that, ask yourself, who is going to start this restructuring? Where would they start from? Is it your National Assembly? For selfish reasons?
They are the elected representatives.
No, will they be able to relinquish this thing? Like I always say that, let's crash the system and start all over again. Hand over to the judiciary. But would the National Assembly agree to
For me,
that?
I think it's a leadership challenge. If you get the right people who have the right senses and the right elements to justify and support, for example, the first national anthem, you see Nigeria as one economy, Nigeria as one political entity, not because I come from the southwest. My people, either by error or by design, must get the largest share, the sharing. If you are Nigeria-centric, you are Nigeria-focused, through quality leadership, these issues will get. It's because of the parochial thinking that made somebody thrown up as a governor or a senator or a president, and his bloc will run after him. This is our time. So we have turned the entire system to turn by turn.
Yeah.
So even our politicians are challenged today. If you're elected, appointed a minister, for example, your clan will be after your neck.
That's right.
The demand on you will be more than the national resources.
Just to support what you just said, last Christmas, the man representing my state as a minister called some people and, to greet, they came to greet and all that. At the end of the day, he gave them 150,000 people for Christmas and the New Year. They say, how can a minister just give 150,000? And I said, then man, how much is his salary? Do you want him to steal? Okay? So the expectations of the masses, of the maybe the constituents, the constituencies, are also what is causing problem in the system. Yes, because they expect you as a minister as this to bring this, maybe the part of the ledges from Abuja to them to.
That's why I say it's a leadership question.
Yeah.
So how do we get out of this quagmire that we have actually been stunted for a while? Because restructure will bring progress. restructure will make Nigeria move forward. For now, I see Nigeria remaining static. Where do we go from here?
Well, that's a point that we have to deal with. But unfortunately, time is not our side as usual. But the point is that we need to go back to know where we missed it, to know exactly what the vision of our founders of Nigeria, what the vision really was, and bring it again. Because until we do that, and then one important thing is the brotherly love, which was what part of that national anthem said, brotherly love. We need to go back and have a country where there is brotherly love, where there is justice, where there is equity, where there is equality. That is the only way where restructuring can happen. Outside of that, well, we will come back next time to continue the debate.
Thank you for being a part of the show. We hope that you've been enlightened. Remember that you can follow us on all our social media platforms that are displayed on the screen right now. You can also catch all the episodes on the YouTube channel that is at Patitos Gang TV. Till next time, my name is Fumbi Ogunbanwo. Take care.